So Tyson Fury takes out Dillian Whyte in round 6 after detonating an absolute brutal peach of a right uppercut on Dillian Whyte's chin, nearly taking Dillian Whyte out cold. This was a bit of a strange fight. I'm going to talk about it while it's fresh in my memory. The first round, both guys walked to the ring looking a little bit tense, I want to say, especially Dillian Whyte. He looked like he was doing his best to stay relaxed. Tyson Fury's a bit more experienced with these much bigger crowds, and he looked a bit more settled. They've come out into the centre of the ring, and Dillian Whyte is a southpaw, but Dillian Whyte isn't a southpaw, and it's obviously something he's done to keep Fury guessing. Usually Fury's the one with the mind games and the element of surprise, but Dillian Whyte seemed to flip that on its head, and he wanted to catch Fury off guard. But however, Dillian Whyte, yeah, it's all good and well throwing punches from a southpaw stance, but can you actually defend punches? Towards the end of the first round, going off from memory, but Tyson Fury, I think he attempted a right hand. It didn't land, but it showed that Dillian Whyte isn't a southpaw. He's not a true southpaw. It was a bit of a facade. It was just a look. Dillian Whyte wasn't actually able to operate too effectively out of the southpaw stance. However, he did do a decent job landing some right jabs, especially to the body of Fury. But that's to be expected. Dillian Whyte in a southpaw stance is leading with his right hand, so it's going to be a bit more sharp, a bit more direct. But then the second round came, and Dillian Whyte reverted back to his original stance of being unorthodox. And Tyson Fury actually came out southpaw himself, but of course Tyson Fury is a much more proficient switch hitter than Dillian Whyte. And the first round was really the only round that gave to Dillian Whyte, just because of those little jabs to the body that he was able to pick off. But from then on, from round 2, the rest of the fight, I just gave it to Tyson Fury. I felt like it was a fairly routine fight for Fury. I don't even think he really had to go through the gears, and it's really... that's just my opinion, of course, but I feel like Tyson Fury could have done more. But he still got a brutal stoppage in the 6th round. Dillian Whyte, I feel like, I don't want to say he fought a bad fight. I just think that he just, stylistically, this wasn't the best matchup for him. He always had a chance with his punching power and his sharpness with the catch and counter. Maybe the body shots, which he didn't really have too much success with, at least with his kind of trademark left to the body. But Dillian Whyte, he's just not... I just don't think he's controlled enough. He just doesn't have enough coordination of his body. And it's really quite a shame because... I mean, it's not really a shame if you're a Tyson Fury fan, but Dillian Whyte, he has got good skills, but his body control is terrible. This is someone who's really naturally poorly coordinated. And Tyson Fury himself can also be a bit ungainly and a bit lanky. You know, both of these guys are just all arms and legs. You know, very lanky, very tall, very long levers. And so it was a bit of an ugly fight at times, especially when they're trying to throw their best shots, but they're not in the best position. They're off balance and whatnot. And Dillian Whyte he was able to get Tyson Fury against the ropes on a number of occasions, but he just wasn't varied enough. He just wasn't good enough. As simple as that. Tyson Fury is good on the ropes. He does have that instinct, as I always talk about. He's defensively very slippery, and he fights well in the moment. But even then, Whyte couldn't really challenge him at all. It got to a point in, I don't know, the 4th round, I want to say, where Whyte had a little cut over his right eye from an accidental head clash in the fight. It's just a small cut. It wasn't anything too significant, but he also was bleeding from his nose. He'd been timed quite a few times coming in by Tyson Fury's jab. And Whyte didn't really make much of an adjustment. See, when you've got a guy in front of you who's looking to land the jab, you don't necessarily have to worry too much about what's coming from the sides. You still have to some degree, but I feel like you should really focus your defense in front of your face where your opponent's going to look to jab. So you want to have that rear hand parrying. You want to have it in front, and then you can jab with Fury or jab with whoever. But Whyte didn't do that. He didn't seem to make that adjustment, and he was getting time to the jab, but he was also getting time coming in with a Tyson Fury left hook. It wasn't necessarily a hard left hook, but it was still a scoring shot, and it was enough to throw Whyte off, to make him reset and think, oh, okay, I've got to cover up here and not necessarily commit to offense and catch Tyson as he comes out on an angle. So yeah, very strange fight. It wasn't, I think watching it back, it's not necessarily going to be the most entertaining fight, but of course, in the moment, it's tense. There's an atmosphere, and there's an edge of your seat action. There was actually one moment where Dillian Whyte almost landed that very sharp left hook. It missed by a hair, and Tyson Fury's got good chin and he's got great powers of recovery, but even that Dillian Whyte left hook could have sent him down, but it didn't land. Tyson Fury was just able to drift away, and that was really the only kind of precarious moment for Tyson Fury, and it was over in a second. And then Tyson Fury just went about his business. He got to the 6th round, the round of the stoppage, and Dillian Whyte looked like he was getting quite frustrated because he was struggling to really land anything of note. And he looked like at moments he would stop and reset himself in this round and the rounds prior, and he'd just look to just give Tyson Fury different looks. He'd slip to one side, slip to the other, looked like he tried to get into a rhythm. But this time, he kept his head on the centre line and looked to approach on Tyson Fury, just alternating the position of his left and right hands. But he stayed on the centre line, and Tyson Fury was just tapping away with the jab, and he saw that gap in the high guard of Whyte and just cracked him with that uppercut, the right uppercut. And the thing is, it didn't even land flush. It kind of landed like 30 or 40% and then slid up Whyte's face, and still that was enough to take Whyte out. And he just sent Whyte, he gave Whyte a little bit of a shove, but Whyte was completely gone. Didn't hit his head on the canvas, thankfully. He kind of fell onto his arm, but he was completely gone when he stood up, and it was all over. The referee stopped it, and I cannot complain at the stoppage because Whyte was seriously hurt. And this is something that I pointed out in the pre-fight video. I don't have any faith in Whyte's chin. He's tough mentally and physically, but the chin is Cracked. Ever since that Joshua fight, Joshua took him out with an uppercut. Rivas dropped him with an uppercut. Povetkin took him out with an uppercut. It's his weakness. And Tyson Fury, he's a savvy guy, and he landed that shot. And he didn't even put much oomph into it. He just lined it up nicely. So, yeah. I mean, commiserations for Dillian Whyte. It's when you consider how long he's waited, all those 1,000 and something days. He's finally got his shot, and it ends like this. And I think he's going to be kicking himself because he'll probably feel like he'd be able to do more. But Tyson Fury proved that he's just a league above Dillian Whyte. Now, I understand that a lot of people in the back of this are going to be saying, see, Tyson Fury's the best ever. I don't know. He's had a good win over Vlad, 2 wins, arguably 3 over Deontay Wilder, and now this win over Dillian Whyte. It's good form. It's great form. I'm not trying to dispute that. Best of all time, though, I'm not sure about that. In the running, he's certainly an all-time great, in my opinion, but if he wants to go for that GOAT status, he's still going to have to see Usyk, of course, and potentially Joshua, depending on his form. But Tyson Fury certainly is a remarkable heavyweight. As I say, I don't even think he went through all the gears. Tyson Fury still looked like he had a lot that he could have brought out if need be. But Dillian Whyte just wasn't good enough for him to do that. However, it's not all pluses for Tyson Fury. We did see some ugly exchanges in this fight, and Tyson Fury is guilty of really bending the rules, and sometimes he'll hit and hold, and I have to remind you guys, that's not legal. You can't do that. Excessive holding is illegal. But the referee was quite stern and managed to tidy the fight up somewhat. But yeah, this is Tyson Fury's night. I'm kind of gutted. I had a bet that Tyson Fury would win by knockout in the 10th round, and the odds were great. They were 12-1. I put £20 down, so I would have been laughing all the way to the bank. But Tyson Fury, he obviously had other plans. He was busy after the match, so he decided to get it done in the 6th round. But yeah, that's just my take on this fight. Not the best fight, but a great result, and it was a great event overall. So let me know what you think in the comment section below. Maybe I'll do a follow-up to this one. Maybe I'll have a look at some footage or see what went wrong, what went right for both guys, and address this when I've calmed down a little bit. But anyway, leave your comments in the comment section below. Do you agree, disagree? What is your opinion of the fight? Leave it down below. I'll get back to you. If you could like, comment, share, and subscribe, that'd be greatly appreciated. Thanks for listening, and I'll catch you in the next video.